Alright,
There we are.
We are going.
Howdy, everybody.
Oh.
Welcome.
Yeah, I hope everybody's doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Snow is melting here.
Oh, I like the snow.
You do like the snow.
There's some good cold therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Little late stuff. So I love the cold. Cold therapy, by the way. Yes, absolutely. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is week 5, I believe, of our series that we're doing with Lost&Found. Yeah, turn that down a little bit. And so we're really excited. We're really excited for Lost&Found because they have some big news. I'm not going to announce it because I don't know if they have yet. I just got an email.
You don't want to spoil it, but
yeah, I don't want to spoil it.
exciting.
But congratulations, guys. That is totally awesome. Yeah. So good for you guys. Really, really happy and we're happy to be a part of it too. So tonight we're going to focus on a couple different things. We're going to do breath work right away just to get us into the zone, into the space, into the power of now. The breath works for clearing anxiety and stress, and because I think some people are experiencing a bit of stress, people are experiencing a bit of anxiety, and we want to curb that. We want to get that down, because if anything is going to reduce or affect our immune system, stress is one of the biggest causes of affecting our immune system, and we want to have a healthy, strong immune system right now. So we're going to do that right away, and then we're going to have Alicia.
I'll talk about some cognitive distortions, and one of them will be negativity bias. And we'll just go into what that is, what it does to us in our lives, and then what we can do about it.
Why we go to the dark side so easily, right? That thing we need to sort of manage a little bit more in our lives for sure is that dark side. And then if we have time, we're going to do similar to what we did last week. Last week we went really deep into the breath work, and we did the bliss breath, and that's an immune system booster that literally is releasing white blood cells and doing immune system work and getting us into hypoxia, which is releasing red blood cells and strengthening our blood cells and all that. So I mean, this stuff is golden, this breath work. And I want to say something really quick about the COVID-19 stuff and this, because it's hitting home now. It's literally like Sioux Falls is a hot spot, right? Well, we're safe. Not really. No one's safe, but we're down in Nebraska. That's what I mean. But I live in Sioux Falls, and a lot of the viewers, a lot of people are from Sioux Falls, and Sioux Falls has now become this hot spot. So we're going to hear about people we know who are getting this for sure. We're exposed to it. I know just going anywhere now, it's a bit sketchier. So it's really important that we all know that this is a respiratory disease. People are dying from their lungs shutting down because oxygen is not getting into the blood, okay? That is hypoxia. It's a lethal hypoxic state. The organs are shutting down because the oxygen isn't getting to the blood. Now, we can help our bodies prevent that from happening ahead of time through focusing on our breath. Our breath is going to show us where we're at. If we're stressed, we're vulnerable because we're shallow chest breathers, and our immune system is weak. And if that virus hits us and we're stressed, shallow chest breathers, it's going to affect us a lot harder than if we're healthy nose breathers and deep breathing, diaphragmatic breathing on a regular basis. So we want to breathe from our nose as much as possible. It naturally utilizes the diaphragm, okay? That's very important. And it also releases nitric oxide. The mouth doesn't. And nitric oxide even shows, you can Google it, nitric oxide SARS coronavirus. There's a study that shows that it inhibits the reproductive cycle of coronavirus. So that's how important breath work is to this stuff. It's a prep, it's a strengthener, it's preparing our bodies for something like this, and it's boosting our immune system. So this practice we're going to do right now, if you did this daily, you're doing a massive amount of good to your system to prepare for it just in case you get it, plus all the other benefits.
Right, like that's just the the physical benefits just of doing that. But then you're also like putting yourself into a state of calm. So that just feels better. And then that's that mind-body connection too. Like you do these practices that are just on their own going to have a physical benefit, but then it's going to impact your anxiety and stress level, which then impacts your physical, which impacts, it's like this amazing cycle that typically we get into an anxiety stress cycle, and then it, ends up spiraling downwards, but we can do it the other way.
Yeah.
And so that's what's so great about it.
Yeah, we call it the stress-breath connection. Literally, the stress shows up in your breath. You can reverse that. Use your breath to reduce the stress. You're going to reduce cortisol. You're getting yourself in that calm, reduce anxiety state, and you're building your immune system and your blood and everything else, and life becomes so much easier and healthier and happier. So let's get right into it. So find a comfortable seat. Your spine straight. I'm going to play a little music to enhance the effect. And then we're going to start to focus on our breathing. And we're going to only nose breathe this time. So all the breathing is happening through the nose. Just do the best you can. Inhale through the nose. Exhale slower out the nose. Just get into that rhythm of your breath. Feel your breath. Inhale. Feel everything sort of lifting and expanding. You can even put your hands on your lower ribs and then exhale through the nose. And we want to feel the expansion at the lower ribs. That's really important because that tells us that diaphragm's moving. We're full body breathing. And then exhale slower. Now we're going to inhale for a count of 4. Inhale. And then hold the breath. Slowly release out the nose for a count of 8. Inhale for a count of 4. And hold the breath. You want to feel everything lifting, expanding, full bodies. Your whole body's filled with oxygen, and then slowly release the breath for as long as you can for a count of 8. Inhale for 4. And hold the breath. Slowly release for a count of 8. Inhale for 4. Hold the breath. Slowly release for a count of 8. Now gentle breathing through the nose only. Imagine a gentle ocean wave, and that's your breath. So gentle breath in, gentle breath out, gentle breath in, gentle breath out, and then hold the breath on the exhale. Gentle breath in, gentle breath out, hold. It's resetting our autonomic nervous system. Gentle breath in, gentle breath out, hold. And find comfort in that need for air. Gentle breath in, gentle breath out, hold the breath. Gentle breath in, gentle breath out, hold. And then just come to gentle breathing through the nose. Very gentle. We want to feel that oxygen hunger. Now bring your right hand up, use the right thumb, block the right nostril. Deep inhale through your left nostril. Block the left and then exhale out your right nostril. Block the right, inhale left. Block the left, exhale right. And continue with that. Block the right, inhale left. Block the left, exhale right. Block the right, inhale left. Block the left, exhale right. Block the right, deep inhale left. Block the left, exhale right. See if you can go a little deeper, inhale left. Block the left, exhale right. Block the right, deeper inhale left. Block the left, exhale right. Block the right, inhale left. Block the left, exhale right. 3 more, make them deep. Inhale left. Release right. Deep, deep inhale, left nostril. Release right. Now deep, deep inhale, left nostril. Hold the breath. You might feel tingling through your body. That's all good. Release through the right nostril. Now hold the breath on that exhale. Relax everything. Release the hand and just hold. Find inner stillness, inner peace, inner calm. Listen to the inner body, the inner self. And then inhale through the nose. And then come back to very gentle breathing through the nose only. As gentle as possible. Observe the breath. Observe how it's brushing the hairs in your nostrils. And then slow it down, make it so light that those hairs aren't even moving. Just make that breath as light as possible. You can make it even lighter, calmer. Very, very gentle breathing through the nose. Everything calming and relaxing. Now take a slightly deeper inhale, very gentle inhale, gentle exhale, hold. Gentle inhale, gentle exhale, hold. Gentle inhale, gentle exhale, hold. Gentle inhale, gentle exhale, hold the breath. Gentle inhale, gentle exhale, hold. Come back to gentle breathing through the nose. Now again, make it as gentle as possible. At first, just gentle movement through those nose hairs and then bring it all the way down so nothing's moving. Imagine a feather underneath your nose and it wouldn't even move. Your breath is so calm. everything calming and relaxing. Deep inner peace, deep inner stillness. I'll take a nice slow inhale through the nose for a count of 7. Inhale. And then hold the breath. And a very, very slow exhale out the nose for a count of 7. Slow inhale through the nose for 7. Hold the breath. Slow exhale for a count of 7. Slow inhale for a count of 7. Hold the breath. Slowly release for a count of 7. Slow inhale for a count of 7. Hold the breath. Slowly release as slow as possible. Everything relaxes. And repeat the words very gently, maybe whisper just silently in your mind. Optimism, joy, gratitude. Optimism, joy, gratitude. Feel the energy of those words. Gently breathe in the energy of those words. Optimism, joy, and gratitude. Optimism, joy, and gratitude. We're going to end with 3 hums. We're going to hum. It can sound like anything. Inhale through the nose. Inhale through the nose. Feel that vibration deep into the core of your body. Inhale. And relax everything. And then feel. Allow yourself the opportunity to go into your own body, into your just however you feel and feel. Appreciate that feeling, whatever it is. Need to focus on anything? Focus on bringing your breathing to the most gentle breathing possible through the nose. Give yourself this time, this experience to feel the inner peace, the inner stillness. Maybe in that inner peace and inner stillness, you see that true blossoming beauty. infinite source of love, creativity, joy, compassion. Allow yourself to go deeper into that feeling. Slowly bring ourselves back out, breathing a little deeper through the nose now. And then slowly opening up the eyes. Oh, nice.
Yeah. So those of you who are watching who did this, how was it for you? I don't know if you guys can do like a thumbs up, or even just if you want to comment. I don't know if we'll get to all of them, or if anybody types anything, we'll be able to see it. But it's, I don't know, it's just one of those things. The more we do it, of course, like it's like a muscle. You get it in your system. It is so calming.
It's so calming, yeah.
Yes. And all aspects of it, you know, and it's so intentional. The way that the breath sequence is positioned too.
Yeah. And I did do some different things than we normally do. That very gentle nose breathing. It's very powerful. It's something you can do before you go to bed. You know, as you go to bed. Very gentle nose breathing. It's going to calm the system down. Was there?
Olivia said, "Oh, we miss you too."
Hi, Olivia.
Yeah. And
how are you?
Diana.
I miss you.
Yeah.
So
good. Yeah.
Awesome. So the yogis have a saying, and also now science is discovering that when we breathe 6 breaths a minute, that we're in an optimal state. Our body is literally at such a high general sort of just the blood and the oxygen and everything's working at such a high state that we can't have any respiratory disease breathing at that level.
And or even like mental health, like anxiety and stress.
Absolutely, too. Yeah. It brings us into a more meditative mind on a regular basis. It opens the pineal and the pituitary gland, just our breathing alone. And so if you notice, we've really kind of brought that breathing down nice and slow. And that 7 seconds, you can throw any number in there. 7 in, 7 hold, 7 out. You can do 8, you can do 10. It's just making us breathe. So think of it, 7 in, 7 hold, 7 out, 21 seconds, 3 breaths a minute. That's pretty darn good. Do that for 5 minutes a day and notice the difference. It's significant.
Yeah.
The calming. Anxiety, you can guarantee. I'll say it. I hate to say it, but if you breathe, you can breathe anxiety right out of your system.
And if you feel like you are anxious, do that practice, like what he was saying, for 5 minutes and do it several times throughout the day, because you're retraining the way that your body is handling everything. And we need to do that. Like it's so unconscious. It's so automatic. Breathing is so automatic. We were never really taught how to breathe.
Yeah.
So we were born and we knew how to breathe. And then life takes over. And then all of a sudden you get bombarded with all the stressors of the world. And things happen. And so then all that constriction, that mind-body connection takes it all has that impact. And so we do need to be retaught how to breathe. And that's going to be the most powerful thing we can do. And so do this several times throughout the day. I mean, as much as you can, be very intentional and plugging into how am I breathing right now, because most of us are breathing up here in our chest, and so that's activating that sympathetic nervous system and creating more tension in our body and in our emotions and our thoughts.
And if you suffer from asthma or apnea or any respiratory illness or challenge whatsoever, you can reverse engineer that process through these breathing techniques. It's just, there's so much evidence out there. We have students that rave about the benefits of these practices when they dedicate themselves to it. So all this stuff we're going through, we can really plan, prepare, and reverse. I like the term reverse engineer the process of stress. We're just reversing it out through breathing non-stressfully and calming and relaxed ways.
Right.
So hopefully you guys enjoy that. I know we we're spoiled. We get to do this all day.
Yeah.
We love it. So it's like just part of our life and our energy. So breathe and believe. If we can do anything for you guys, it would be to convince you to be breathers, to literally focus on your breath for the rest of your life, right? This stuff, the evidence that's coming out, especially with this coronavirus, I think more and more information and proof's going to come out of how important our breathing is. I saw a breath thing the other day that kind of went viral, and it's all the wrong breathing. I'm not kidding. The guy was breathing through his mouth super deep. He said he felt dizzy. Maybe you've seen it. There's nothing a breath work kind of person's going to say that's the right kind of breathing. It's not. You want to breathe through your nose and gentle, and like I was watching, I was like, are they serious? and some people did some background. I was like, yeah, that breath work's worthless. But here's the point though. The very fact that you're focusing on your breathing makes that shift happen. So at the very fundamental level, any breath work you do, well, maybe not any, but most of them are going to benefit you because you're focusing on your breath. And that's all it takes. But you can take that spectrum all the way through. If you're just doing a mouth breathing exercise for health, you're immediately doing so many wrong things long term because we don't want to mouth breathe. And so when we nose breathe, well, like we do have practices we mouth breathe, yes. Those take us really, really deep. They're for a reason, right? Because mouth breathing can push more CO2 out, can get us into a deeper state. But in terms of like a sort of daily practice, we don't recommend mouth breathing. So exhale out the mouth, yes, but nose breathing is huge.
And so, we keep learning more and more about why.
We're learning more. Yeah, we're in 2 programs right now, so it might be all nose breathing from here on out from what we're learning.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
that's good stuff.
Yep.
And so then to go off of that a little bit, I'm going to talk about just how it is that mind-body connection. And so something that I think is important to talk about right now is negativity bias. And so just the same as how our breathing was impacted by life, and then it just kind of continues and we don't even realize that that's going on. It's like that's the programming that we're kind of subject to day in and day out. We have these different these psychological phenomena that go on that we play into and don't even realize. So we can reverse engineer that. And negativity bias is one of them. And that is a tendency for us to put a lot of attention onto the negative. And so that might look like, we talk about like when you're driving down the road, if there's a car accident, our attention is going to go to the car accident, even though there could be like this beautiful nature scene on the other side. Our brains are designed to pay so much more attention to the negative than the positive. So there's nothing wrong with us for that. And when you think about it from an evolutionary standpoint, it only makes sense. Because as hunter-gatherers or ancestors, they didn't necessarily need to have a lot of attention and energy focused on the beautiful wonderfulness, right? Because their whole mechanism was all about survival. And so they needed all of their energy to go to the negative stuff, the things that could possibly hurt or kill them. And we're still like, our bodies and our minds, our brains are designed to keep us alive. And they're not, it's not so much concerned about thriving, it's more about surviving. And so then we still carry on with this negativity bias where we're focusing and hyper focusing on the negative, and there's a lot of negative around us, know? And so then when we're doing that, the cerebral cortex, like they can measure it. There's a much stronger impact on our cerebral cortex when negative information is coming in than positive. And so, or anything like even neutral. And so we're getting like chemicals, almost like an addiction can happen because there's so much activity with that. And so if you even watch like a news station or a news segment or something, and you were to set and count, like, is that a fear-based or negative, or is it positive or neutral, and you just tallied, most of it's going to be negative, like things that we have to worry about because it's a threat to ourselves and our safety or our family or whatnot. And so then our survival, our mechanisms get kicked in because we have to fear that, and our, like, it's playing off of our biology. And so we need, just, it's important to just to be aware of that. It's so that we can, like, right now, that's why I mean, so many things that you'll read about how to take care, like self-care during this virus, is to minimize the amount of news that you're watching, because you're getting bombarded with these messages, and you will get, like, that's why it's so hard to not turn on the news. Like, you really do want to keep feeding that, and you almost feel like that gives you a sense of control. There's all these other mechanisms playing in, but we just end up being drawn to that. So know that there's nothing wrong with you. That's just our brain. That's how it was designed. So we have to do different things to kind of break that habit. In other things we talk about, like that path, you know, like you have these neural pathways, you have the brain's design and how it works, and then we have our habits. And so the habit tendency is towards the negative. So we have to, especially if you have like predispositions to anxiety, depression, and some of those kind of mental health things, we have to really make it a practice. Just like we're talking with the breath work, if you have that, to do it throughout the day, it's just going to take more intentional practice to rewire our brain away from the negative and go back to the positive. And it's so important for our mental health and for our physical health as well. So then we, like, think about this too, because we pay more attention to those negative things. How many times do we, like, I don't know if you have some kind of like a performance of some sort, or you do something and you put work into it and you get like 1,000,000 compliments or 10 compliments. I don't know. People telling you something good, you get one negative comment, and it's like none of those positive things ever happen, right? Isn't that a bummer? But we all do this. That's a negativity bias, where it's like we just will focus and hyper focus on that negative, and that tendency then, like, that becomes part of our story, and there's all these other elements that can go into play with that. So we have to just be aware of that and catch ourselves so we can focus back on the positive. Same with like a day, you know, like if I'm going to use my son as an example, because sometimes he'll be like, oh, the worst day, you know, and he's 9, and he'll be like, no, nothing was good. And he's in that negative bias. He's in that so thick. And so it's like he had a day, you know, school day or whatever, and I'm sure there were hundreds of neutral things that happened through the day. Oh, many, many good things. One bad thing happened, and that's all he can think about. So he, you know, like, that's where he's coming from. And so we think about how that energy can just cloud us. And so if you're prone to anxiety or depression, it's like that can put us into a hole that we don't need to go into, because then it just feels like there's more negativity that can come on top of us, and it can smother us. And so we just have to be more aware of that. Another study was showing too that we are more likely to judge a negative story as true versus a positive story. So if there's a news story, you get two pieces of information, and we're designed to be more like protective, basically, and to fear that one and say like, nope, that one must be true. So that's just an interesting thing to think about, like, as we're being presented with experts' opinions and different stories through whatever it might be. Notice your tendency to kind of think that the negative one is true. That goes, and then being open in that neutral mind. We talk a lot about the meditative neutral mind, to see all sides of the story. And just because once we have that awareness of that's our natural tendency, that's power. That's where we become empowered to understand, like, okay, that's the natural tendency. I have the awareness. You become the observer of that. Then you can be able to take in other pieces of information to challenge that. And that's the power. So then, like, if that's the study, then that's also why if we get 10 compliments, one negative thing, why do, you know, thinking that the negative one is the one, like, oh, it was bad because one person that we've never met before said that it was bad, you know? So we have to be able to challenge those things, because that's not, you know, in the study, it's like the reality that we created because of the bias that made it a reality, when that's not the actual facts. And so we have to be able to challenge that. So that awareness piece is so key, and to be able to see it, and not, because what also stinks, I feel, and that can be a problem, is that we all have this tendency. And so then, because of this tendency, and because it can really snowball, in that way, then all of a sudden we can get ourselves into a dark place. And then all of a sudden we feel like, then we might label ourselves with depression, or I am depressed, I am anxious. And so like having that awareness, I hope will bring that empowerment to us so that we can kind of stop it before it gets down to this spiral. We can create the new neural pathways, we can create the new habits so that we're not looking for those same negative things. Like we're, instead of scanning the environment, discounting all of the positive and only focusing on the negative, we have the ability to challenge that and to do to have our brain think differently. So when you are scanning your mind, like if you're paying attention, you know, if you're driving, no one's really driving anywhere anymore right now, but when you can find those moments of stillness, just the same that we focus on your breath and just be like, how am I breathing? What am I thinking? We are with ourselves 24/7. And would you talk to yourself the same way that you would talk to a friend? Most of the time we wouldn't. It'd be like, no, I would never want that person hanging around me because they're awful. But think about how many times we beat ourselves up, and that's just like the breath. A lot of times we're not even aware of how we're breathing. A lot of times we're not even aware of how we're, like, the messages we're telling ourselves. So pay attention to that. What kind of thoughts are you saying to yourself? Because those thoughts affect our emotions, affect our behavior. And all of it, you know, we can use our breath to really counteract that, but we have to have awareness first. So challenge those things. If you have like had something that occurred in the past, because a lot of times we could ruminate over things in the past, and let's say that something happened and it didn't go your way. So one technique that you can do, because the negativity bias would have us beating ourselves up over it and focusing on that one aspect you wish you could have changed, or you didn't nail it like you thought you would, is changing it when you catch yourself thinking that, thinking about like, but what did I learn from this? How is that? Because there's, even when we fail, it's still not necessarily a failure. We have, it's experience. It's an opportunity. What would I do better next time? Because we can't. This is part of the problem, is we resist the fact that that's happened. We can't go in the past and change it. So then we can reframe it from a way of, well, what can I take forward and do better next time? So then it almost makes it positive, because instead of having the negative of beating yourself up, it is an opportunity for the future.
Yeah, it becomes that alchemy piece.
Yeah. Which is,
and that's,
you'll need it.
Yeah, and that's so important with this life, is knowing that we build this groove, whatever we focus on. So if most of us are going to be in that negative bias and that stress response mode, little things like getting a bill that you weren't expecting, or whatever, someone thumbs down you by accident and you freak out, or whatever. It's just, there's so many different things that can happen that create this negative bias and this stress response, and it puts us in this rut of negativity or stress or anxiety. And we build a groove the more and more we go through that in life. And we're not taught this. We're not taught the fact that if we can reverse engineer that, pull ourselves out of it, that's just a dysfunctional state that's inherent in almost every human being. We're all bipolar, by the way. When I hear she's bipolar, he's bipolar, I'm like, aren't we all bipolar to some extent?
Well, life is up and down. Yeah.
So we build that groove. We got to reverse engineer the process and get ourselves out of that rut. We always teach that. And so the more we can get ourselves out of it, the more we're sort of building, now instead of a groove, we're building a mound, a positive, uplifting, elevating plateau or a platform based on when we feel the stress, when we experience it. We reverse engineer that process, turn into alchemists. Who out there wants to be an alchemist? We all do. Everyone wants to be an alchemist. Right. Turning lead into gold, or crap into beauty or bliss. We can do that. So our challenges are now opportunities. We want to see challenges as opportunity. Right. It's like and we all go through it. We're never free of the challenge. It's not gonna get easier. Right. Especially the world is not gonna get an easier place right now. Right. And I, like, even when this first started, and the way I framed it was like, what an adventure. You know, like, good, bad, whatever. It's an adventure. This is something like we can write in a journal or whatever. Yeah. So there's these different tricks that you can do, and really seeing that silver lining. Like, it's so easy
to have a situation occur and it having an impact on you that's not desired. But where is the silver lining? Because it's because of the negativity bias, the tendency is to like throw the baby out with the bathwater,
Yeah.
to do that. And so we usually in a situation, it's not all good, or it's not black and white. It's not all good. It's not all bad. What good aspects came of this? And so it's not, especially like if you're in a depressed mood or kind of mode right now, it's going to be really hard. It's not even going to feel comfortable. So it's not about denying and just like spiritual bypassing and saying like all is good when it's not. It's about, but where is some of the good of seeing like little pieces? And if you're in this dark, like the heavy groove of yuckiness, it's not about saying like, well, you're going to trick yourself into feeling like all love and light. No, higher. Like what's something that maybe you can do to make you feel a little less yucky in this groove? Whether it be listening to music or painting or doing something, some kind of self-expression. Moving your body is always good. Breath work, clearly always good. But so something that just takes you a step higher. We're not asking for people, because sometimes if we're saying like you're feeling really yucky and like resisting life or have just strong, what we would, it's just emotion, but negative emotion, and we want you to get to, or you want to get to like bliss or happiness, that's too far of a jump. And even to pretend it feels like you're lying to yourself, which even puts a different layer on. It's all about authenticity and owning our feelings and moving through them. So then what can we do that's just a step above? And then that's what you focus on. If it's calling somebody, anything like that. And so then you're breaking the cycle. You're breaking the cycle where typically if you pay attention, like when you get into that, maybe there's other coping tools that or things that you would use that weren't always the best. Like whether it's watching TV that's makes you feel yucky, or I don't know, online shopping. I don't know. But there's other things that typically you might think make you feel better, and they don't end up making you better in the long run. It's one of those instant gratification pieces. So
I want to say go jump in a freezing cold lake.
That's what Brian would do.
Yeah. Ready to clear that out and give you a little boost. Go take a cold shower or get in some cold.
Yeah.
But anything that it's the power of now.
Yes.
And that's this is where the whole, I believe, the sort of definition or understanding of meditation should evolve into the flow state or the zone, whatever gets us in that state of flow, zone, meditation, power of now. They're all the same thing. And so you don't have to sit in dark with your Buddha next to you with beads or whatever, trying to get into that meditative state, because we all know that's not easy. Using the mind to calm the mind is not an easy thing. It's more and more challenging every day. We can get there through breath work, we can get there through music, we can get there through dancing, we can do that through just getting into the power of now, getting whatever it takes to get in the flow state. That's the key.
Right.
And you're reverse engineering that process, and it's all imprinted in your vagus nerve, in our vagal tone. It's the largest nerve in our whole body. It's all imprinted in there. That's the physiological expression of where we're at energetically in mind, body, and spirit. And so that is going to get strengthened every time you overcome that. Get in the power of now, get in the flow state. That humming is super, super powerful. Like, why are we humming? It is unbelievable. Humming is one of the practices you could I'm just going to hum. I don't care about all this stuff. Then just hum. Hum for 2 to 3 minutes a day, a couple times a day. You're going to notice a difference in your life.
Well, we just heard of a study, even like prayer. There was a study that showed like praying the rosary, and people who would pray the rosary actually were altering their breath so that they were getting into a cadence of breathing that was super healthy. So the mantra, the mantra that is in yoga, it doesn't have to be like the traditional yoga stuff. It can be praying a rosary. So you get to use whatever tools you have that resonate with you, and lift yourself up from that. And that's I loved that study, because that's something that
totally.
It's a tool that's very accessible. And just being aware of your energy and how you're feeling, your emotions. That's your guidance system. It's do I feel? Like checking in with your heart, and where in your body are you feeling some of these emotions, so that you can see like what practices are good for you and uplifting and which aren't. Because sometimes what's with the negativity bias is it tricks you into having it feel good. A prime example is gossip. Like if it's gossiping or talking bad about others, it's like that negative, but then there's this bonding that kind of can occur with that, and where that can become addicting, but you feel yucky after. And so those are the things that it's good to be aware of, because the brain is designed to basically put us in those states for survival, but right now it's impacting our ability to thrive, and we don't have to let it be that way. We have the power to biohack, I like that word, and to reverse engineer, and to do these different practices that are accessible at any time. We just have to be aware, and knowing too that at first, just like any habit, it's hard. It takes more mental muscle, but it is a muscle, and the more that you do it, the easier it gets, to the point of whether we're talking about breathing or our mindset. The more that we do it, the more then you're creating that mound or that neural pathway where it becomes second nature. And that's where we want to get, where we are just like, man, I wish there was a news station of all positive stuff, because that would be so uplifting. Where right now, that's for a lot of us, we wouldn't be interested in that. And so we have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
It's important.
And it works. It does. It works. So I feel like we're being almost like forced into being resilient with this stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
Unless we're totally like, total, but like as a species collectively, the wholeness that's being created, because hey, everyone, we're in this together. It's like spaceship Earth right now has a planetary disease and nobody's free of it. That puts us in a whole different mindset.
Right, there is no separation.
There's no separation in there. Yeah.
And that's what a gift to be able to see that,
Absolutely. Do you have anything up there we should read and look over real quick?
I don't know. Biohack. Yep, reverse engineering.
Yeah, reverse engineering, biohacking are beautiful terms. We love them. Yeah. That's where we're at. That's what this shift is all about. It's like you hear all these like spiritual awakenings, the awakening, we use them. We don't want to sound like hypocrisy, but it's really very simple. It's actually, you could kind of prove it psychologically, scientifically. It's just it's this shift into, now let's take responsibility for this.
Right.
In here, in our health, happiness, and well-being, because we have the tools. We can't control anything that's on the outside. The outside's so chaotic. There's no control out there. Okay, that's the other thing that's creating this resilience, is that there's no control of what's happening on the outside. So now we have to focus on what's in here.
And I like the idea too of like the awakening, because of our biology and because of the evolutionary psychology that we all have, it is easy for marketers to kind of challenge that. Like there's this bliss point, like that point of like, we will get addicted to certain foods because of the bliss point, and we don't even have that awareness. So part of the awakening is understanding that, oh wow, it's really easy for me to be subject to certain practices or doing certain things, because I'm, things are designed to get us addicted to them so that we can continue to buy. And it's not like people are evil doing that. It's all good, right? But part of the awakening is understanding things that we weren't taught, the power of our brain. So we aren't just taken for a ride by whatever commercial we saw, and or the cheesecake that we ate, and now we have to have more and more. It's all about understanding our biology, so that when things get triggered or things occur, or just having that awareness, so that we become the drivers in our own life. Like we are the authors of our own story. Those types of things. Like that's kind of what this awakening can be from that psychological standpoint, is just understanding our brain, our body, our spirit, all of the inner, there's nothing in isolation here. And that includes you and me, or us, right? Yeah. We're all in this together. We all interplay off of one another. And once we wake up to that, we can really feel that empowerment. And like Brian said, it's not about what's going on the outside. It really is. Like once we know that Viktor Frankl story, about how the man searched for meaning, when you can be in the worst of situations and understand, like, I won't, let anybody take any any more of my freedom because I'm going to feel free on the inside. Those are the things that we have the ability, like the God-given ability to be able to connect with.
Yeah, awesome. So if this stuff is like you're fired up on it and you love it, really good book out there is Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza. It's funny because I just was on a podcast with my teacher and he was mentioning it too. It's there. He's got it figured out. So that's it.
Oh, somebody said something really nice. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yay.
So yeah, that's a good book. And there's a lot of stuff out there. We have a group coaching course that we do. If you guys are interested in, it's just something to keep us accountable, and we meet on Wednesdays and Sundays. You guys just reach out to us on that, and you can be a part of that. There's lots of stuff that we can do right now. Staying with it, and that daily practice is key, though. Doing something daily to reverse engineer the process, because we can't just assume that our positive intentions and this and that, our mindset's going to carry us. It's not. We have to do the work. Okay, the work's got to be done in some way, shape, or form. The more we pray, meditate, breathe, whatever we do to get there, the more we are establishing that deeper connection within ourselves into the greater whole.
And knowing our biology and why it's so important, because how many times do we start, I don't know, some kind of a positive habit thing in our lives, whether it's breath work, working out, cutting sugar, it doesn't matter, writing every day. So, and then we get there and we think that we've mastered it. And so then we start like, oh, I can taper off a little bit, or you feel really good. And so then you don't think you need like that medicine anymore. And all of a sudden it's like, oh shoot, those things in life, because again, like the biology, we're designed, it's going to want to pull you in the old habits from before there. So it is important to like establish it, even when it's feeling really good, and it will feel really good to continue to do that, because it'll just magnify. It'll just continue to get good. And then if you fall off the wagon and stop doing breath work for a while, you'll feel it.
Oh, you'll know it.
You'll know it.
That's the thing with breath work is it feels so good and you're on this trajectory that's kind of like this. It's the arrows pointing up. You don't do it and it's going to be like, wait a minute.
And what's going on? Why is
life
everything...
does suck.
Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, I forgot to...
Anytime I want life to suck, I'll stop doing my breath work for a few days. It comes pretty quick, actually.
But you talk about, too, the importance of sometimes, like, taking a break so that you can see what life is without it.
Absolutely. To get us back, sort of crack that whip, you know? Like, that's what life is about. That's why we're here. It's for the challenge. We have to see it that way. And we've been so delusioned by convenience and comforts and, oh, I want everything to be so good and I want to make money. I want to like just have this so I can travel the world. Now all those comforts have been removed. We're like, okay, kind of caught with our clothes down right now as a species, where it's like, now it's time to make the shift. It's interesting. Pretty cool stuff. So do we want to try and do a quick little bliss breath?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. So this is a really powerful breath. Work practice that can get a really lot of energy. It activates, stimulates our everything inside, right? We'll get a good adrenaline. It's called good stressor. That we feel stress, it's okay because it's building inner resilience to be able to overcome stress. It releases cortisol and does all types of good stuff. And it's a ton of nitric oxide boosting because we're doing it all through the nose. Now, epilepsy, if you're pregnant, or if you have severe health problems, just go really light and don't hold the breath. Okay? You can follow along, but no breath holds. So otherwise, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to do this quick because we only have 5 minutes, but we're going to show you, or we have 7 minutes, we're going to show you how, at 7 minutes, how really deep we can get and have that experience. And this is a huge immune system boosting. Doing this every day right now is going to just amplify your immune system, probably as good as anything you can find out there. So, and
I'm going to throw this in. So something that I like to suggest is to just do a little inventory of yourself before you and after you do breath work, because sometimes it's so subtle, but then this just makes it like a checking point. So like a pre and post test, so that you understand, and it's also just another way to bring awareness. So even just maybe you did the vagal toning or the breath work that we did at the first, so you're feeling pretty relaxed, but just taking an inventory quick of on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the most relaxed you've ever been, with 10 being like full of anxiety
Yeah.
and full of stress. Where are you on that scale? And then
afterwards look at it.
yeah, then just like check back in after and see how
So
you are.
if you have any like obstructions in your nose, do what you can, because we're going to do one nostril and then the other, right? So maybe test it. Can you breathe nice? Both nostrils. If you're stuffed up, I'm a little stuffed up on my right, but I'm still going to do it. Do both nostrils. Okay? And if you're really stuffed up and you still really want to do it, use your mouth. You can have many options here. So we're just deep breathing. So let's just come into it. So just focus on our breath through our nose. Inhale. Exhale. Bring your awareness back to the lower ribs. Inhale. Because we want to make sure we have that rib expansion. Exhale. Like your belly's moving, but also it's expanding outward. So it's a full body breath. And then go ahead, block the right nostril with the thumb. Take the first two fingers, put it on your third eye point, and then inhale deeply. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So it's all on the left side. Breathe as deep as you can. 5 more. 3, 2, 1. Deep inhale. Release. Switch nostrils, or just keep breathing through the nose or the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Deeper breaths. 3 more. Deep inhale. Release all the air out. Last one. Deep inhale. Hold. Now release. Relax everything. Hold the breath right where it is. Relax the whole body. Everything relaxes, the mind relaxes. Hold for as long as you can. Only when you need to. Take a deep breath in. And then hold the breath. We bring all that energy up into the crown of the head. And release. Relax everything. Let's do a second round. Block the right nostril. Deep breathing left nostril. Deep breaths. You're welcome to slow it down or go faster, whatever you feel like doing. 5, 4, 3, 2, Deep inhale. Release. Switch sides. Deep breathing. Through your whole body. Five more. Make them deep. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. Deep, deep inhale. Hold. Release. Relax the breath. Release the hand. Hold everything. Hold the breath. Everything relaxes. Feel the inner peace, the inner stillness. Feel your body self-healing. Go into the awareness of the cells. When you're ready, deep, deep inhale. Bring that energy all the way up to the crown of the head. Hold the breath. Feel deep in the body. Release. Everything relaxes. Everything relaxes. Let's do one more. Use the right hand, block the right nostril, deep breathing left. Deep breath. 5 more. 3, 2, 1. Deep, deep inhale. Release. Switch. Deep breathing right side. As deep as you can breathe. Three more. Deep, deep inhale. Release all the breath out. One more deep, deep inhale. Hold. Release. Relax everything. Hold the breath. Allow your awareness to dissolve internally. depth and feel the inner expansion. A vast, infinite space where all things self-liberate. Liberation from fear, stress, anxiety, control. True freedom. And come back slowly, little deeper breaths through the nose. When you're ready to, you can slowly come back to earth, come back to reality. So, yes, so good. Feel free to reach out to us privately if you'd like. Let us know, or you can post on there how it went.
Yeah.
But if I made a list of the benefits of that breath we just did, it would just go literally forever.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't in an hour I couldn't even explain it. And
yeah,
I mean, it's this that brings everything together. It really does that breathing through each nostril like that. So awesome. Looks like some people enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And it's so easy and it's free. We can do it whenever we want, right? Maybe you can hold longer. You'll hold longer the more you do it. So if you do it through your mouth, you're going to be able to hold the longest. If you do it through both noses, you'll hold a little bit longer. And if you do it through one nostril at a time, that's the most advanced version. But that's what we want you guys to learn. So, and it clears the nasal passageways, and eventually we breathe more naturally through our nose, not through our mouth. We don't want to breathe through our mouth. It's harmful. Mm-hmm. So, awesome.
One quick tip too, like if any of you are suffering from seasonal allergies, a good thing that you can do is just have like exhale breath holds, and then breathe in through the nose, in the nose.
Well, that light breathing that we did at the beginning, that's more for allergies, asthma, apnea. Anything like that, you do the light, gentle hold breaths. That's golden. So,
yeah.
All right, cool. Next week,
well, thanks for joining
come
us.
up with something cool.
Yeah.
Cold therapy too. Try it out. She's not into it.
I'll do it. Not to your
It's
extent.
so epic. It's the expression. It's the joy of life. You know, the more we do this work, and cold therapy is just one thing we can do, but it heightens our ability to feel and to experience sensation. So think of everything that brings you sensation, anything that ever has in your past or whatever. This work heightens our ability to feel sensation and experience the ecstasy of life. Really, truly. I mean, that's pretty cool stuff.
Right. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Yeah.
And it's free, and it's not illegal, and it's safe, and it's healthy, and it's everything we could ask for. So, all right. Thanks,
Thank
Breathe and
you.
Believe again. Or
Lost and
thanks,
Found.
Lost and Found again.
Thank you, Lost and Found. Yes.
Yes. And Breathe and Believe.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Have
Bye,
a wonderful
everyone.
Tuesday night.